Alabeda Abdullah El-Hashemi became known as the Ghost of Rim Island after horrible CCTV footage was broadcast around the world showing a black-robed figure entering a shopping mall on Rim Island. At first, police didn't even know if the suspect was male or female. It is reported that 30-year-old El-Hashemi waited for an hour in the restroom of the shopping center for a suitable victim. When 47-year-old American teacher Ibolia Ryan walked in, El-Hashemi called her over, saying she needed help. She then attacked her with a kitchen knife. At this time, the victim asked two minor twin sons, Adam and Aiden, were waiting for their mother at the entrance. El-Hashemi also tried to detonate an explosive device outside the apartment of another American who was working as a doctor in Abu Dhabi on the same day after the events at the mall, but the device failed. He was quickly spotted by one of the doctor's sons. Ibolia Ryan, born Balashi, was born and raised in Romania. She was of Hungarian origin and had the United States citizenship. At the time when this event took place, Ibolia worked as a teacher in a kindergarten in Abu Dhabi. And the day X was December 1, 2014. Everything happened in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. The crime was committed by a woman wearing an abaya, burqa and black gloves. In the most conservative families, this is the norm, not just in abaya and hijab, but in such a way that you will not see the tip of her little finger or forehead. Therefore, no one paid attention to such a woman. It was not something strange, and even if something would be strange to look and stare at local women, in principle, it is not possible. For a foreigner, it can end in deportation at best, if she complains about you, or and prison. The Abu Dhabi Department of Security under the Ministry of Interior published a video on its official YouTube channel showing the suspect as CCTV footage, which was dubbed the Ghost of the Reem Island, who injured the American kindergarten teacher Ibolia Ryan on El Reem Island in Abu Dhabi on Monday. The video from the surveillance cameras shows the suspect in a black abaya exiting the elevator, talking briefly with the security guard, and then picking up a newspaper that was either on or in the trash can, before going to the toilet. About 90 minutes later, the suspected attacker runs back into the lobby as shoppers disperse, pushes aside a woman who tries to stop the suspect and takes an elevator to a parking garage before running away. The tape ends with shots of bloody tracks leading from one of the cubicles in the toilet. Video surveillance footage shows how people react at the scene. One mother with a small child hurries away, and the guards go to the corridor. It looks like the people are alerted that something is going on in the restrooms, and as the security guard walks down the hall toward them, the suspect moves toward the elevators. The video then shows the attacker fleeing the scene after the crime, which took place in a mall toilet, wearing a black abaya, black gloves, and a face covering known as the niqab or hijab. Police said the victim suffered massive lacerations with a sharp instrument after an argument in the women's room. There was information that the perpetrator was not known to the victim. On the morning of Thursday, December 4, news sources reported that the Abu Dhabi police managed to catch the suspect. Later in the day, General Sheikh Saif, the UAE's Deputy Prime Minister and Interior Minister, said security and police forces had arrested a woman suspected of brutally assaulting an American teacher. He emphasized that the suspect was identified in less than 24 hours and detained in less than 48 hours. She said that after committing her first crime, she returned to her car and drove to the home of an Egyptian-American immigrant doctor, which was located on the waterfront of Abu Dhabi, where she planted a primitive device at the entrance that was supposed to cause destruction and damage. Police were able to dismantle it before it detonated. The security guard said a woman wearing gloves and an abaya had come to the house minutes before the incident, dragging a black suitcase, authorities said. According to him, she went to the floor where the doctor's family lives and then quickly left the building. The doctor also said that a few days ago he saw a woman in an abaya outside his house. The Department of Security Media released a dramatic video on YouTube explaining the details of the crime. which included CCTV footage. The video also highlights the search and investigation procedures carried out by the police and security forces, which eventually led to the arrest of the suspect and solved the mystery of the crime. There is also footage showing the same white SUV in which the suspect drove away from the crime scene. Blood is visible on the steering wheel, and police video shows a black suitcase identical to the one she apparently carried to the doctor's apartment. This suitcase was noticed when the doctor's 13-year-old son was going to the mosque in the evening to pray. Ibolia Ryan was a citizen of the USA and Hungary. At the time, she was the mother of 11-year-old twin sons who lived with her in Abu Dhabi and a 13-year-old daughter who lived with ex-husband Ryan in Vienna, Austria. She is a self-described Hungarian-American born and raised in Romania who has taught in 4 countries, including the United States, over the previous 15 years, and then she lived in Colorado. She and her husband moved to Hungary with their 3 children about 8 years ago and later divorced. Police said last year Hashemi was radicalized over the internet and did not target a specific citizen, but was looking for a foreigner at random. She supported and sent money to this kind of group that I think everyone has heard of. Attacks on Westerners are rare in the UAE, a rich oil exporter and tourist hub, but concern is growing after a series of Islamist attacks in other Gulf states, including Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. The UAE has joined airstrikes in Syria against Islamic State, which has called on Muslims in the Persian Gulf to target Western expatriates in response to attacks against it. The UAE is also a strong opponent of other Islamist groups. On December 5, the UK Foreign and Commonwealth Office issued new security warnings. Foreigners in the Gulf and elsewhere could be targeted indiscriminately. The US has issued an advisory urging Americans in the Persian Gulf to adjust their daily routines and schedules. Representatives of the US Security Service have previously warned their citizens working in the Middle East about a jihadist network that calls for attacks on American school teachers. The recruitment firm involved in bringing Ryan to Abu Dhabi has launched a fundraiser to bring Ryan's body home and provide for her children's education. The Emirates authorities denied international media access to the trial, which began on March 23. At the end of June 2015, the Federal Supreme Court of Abu Dhabi sentenced 31-year-old Alabeda El-Hashemi, a citizen of the Emirate, to the death penalty. Mother of 6 children aged 9 months to 10 years, the decision was made by the Supreme Court and was not subject to appeal. Abu Dhabi Daily, The National, reported that Hashemi told prosecutors that she committed the crimes because her husband, who is suspected of having links to militants, was taken into custody by state security for questioning. According to her, she sought revenge for her husband and wanted to instill fear, especially among American, British and French expatriates. But she also claimed in court that mental illness was behind her actions and described herself as being possessed by evil spirits, hearing and seeing them. During the trial, she occasionally burst into tears or fits of laughter, the newspaper said. At the court, she demanded a medical examination of her mental state because she believed that she had committed crimes unconsciously and therefore she cannot be tried. A medical report drawn up by the court established that she was sane. Hashemi was also convicted of creating a social media account to spread militant ideology with the intention of undermining the government and funneling money to militant organizations for attacks, the official news agency reported. Hashemi was executed on Monday morning, 13 July 2015, following the approval of the President of the UAE. The report did not reveal how Hashemi's pulse was stopped, but it was done just 2 weeks after the Federal High Court handed down a guilty verdict that could not be appealed.